Gillian Keegan.
Thank you, Mr Pritchard. It is a pleasure to indeed serve under your chairmanship, and I would like to congratulate my honourable friend, the member for Shrewsbury and Atcham, on securing the debate and also his excellent and very moving speech. And of course, it's a great honour to follow the honourable member for Ealing North and his wonderful speech. I wanted to contribute to this debate for two reasons. Firstly, because RAF Tangmere in my constituency played such a pivotal role during the Battle of Britain, and secondly, to thank the Polish pilots, many of whom took to the skies to defend our country and fight for theirs. And their efforts in the Second World War were vital and must never be forgotten. RAF Tangmere and West Hampnet was the most southerly RAF fighter command base during the Battle of Britain, and they played an historic role in the defence of our country during our darkest hour over the summer of 1940. And many of the few, as they become known, flew from Tangmere, including revered pilots like Douglas Bader and Billy Fisk. The Polish squadrons 302 and 303 didn't fly from Tangmere, but today their contribution has been marked by the Tangmere Military Aviation Museum, which stands on the old site of the old airfield. Last summer, the museum held an exhibition solely focused on the contribution made by Polish and Czech air crews, their pilots and their highly skilled crews who came to the country to fight the Nazis after their homelands had been invaded and occupied. And over 4,000 people visited the exhibition over a 6-week period. And I was very pleased to meet with veterans who had served and several young people from Poland who were keen to research the roles their grandfathers and uncles had played in World War II. I'm very happy to give
Good evening, May. Just when she refers to young people attending, would you agree with me that while it is exceptionally important that generations that we would represent here are made aware and reminded of the bravery and sacrifices that were made, that it is even more important that future generations remember that so that mistakes of the past are not repeated?
I completely agree, which makes this debate and the continuation of these memorials and exhibitions and museums and celebration is important for future generations to see always. The Imperial War Museum records that 145 Polish men fought alongside our pilots during this fateful time, and during this period destroyed 204 enemy aircraft, and the people of Britain owe their liberty in part to their heroism. I'm proud that in Chichester we play our part in continuing to remember them. But as many members have mentioned, Poland's contribution to our war effort goes far beyond the Battle of Britain. The Nazi occupation of Poland was one of the most brutal of the war. Poland was carved up with Stalin under the German-Soviet non-aggression pact, and the German-occupied zone became known as the General Government, which was placed under the control of Hitler's lawyer, a ruthless Nazi called Hans Frank, who was later hanged at Nuremberg. Although divided, occupied, brutalised and stripped of their identity, the Poles fought on and continued to resist. 1943 saw the heroic Warsaw Uprising by the Jewish community, and later in 1944 the entire population of Warsaw did the same in a heroic effort to liberate their capital city from the Nazi tyranny.
I'd like to thank the honourable member for recognising the Jewish efforts in the war. There were actually 150,000 Jews serving in the Polish army in September 1939 in that campaign. Many of those went to fight in the Polish Free Army in France and in the United Kingdom. Just as many fought as partisans and in the Warsaw Uprising. My own grandfather, Maximilian Sobel, fought on the German front as part of the Polish army on the Eastern Front and was particularly commanded the Independent Motor Battalion during the Battle of Dresden. So I'd like to put that on record. Thank you.
I'm very glad the honourable member.
Can I just remind honourable members, I've been very flexible. A couple of people have come in late and I've allowed them to have interventions. But coming in pretty much halfway through the debate is pushing the envelope. So can I remind all honourable members, please attend at the beginning of the debate. We all run slightly late, but coming halfway through and expect to speak, I think is, as I say, pushing the envelope, however good the contribution might be. Gillian Keegan.
Thank you. The heroism of these two uprisings by the Polish people are the greatest acts of resistance against tyranny the world has ever seen. And it's an enduring stain on the record of the Soviet Union's wartime history that Stalin ordered his troops encircling Warsaw to do nothing whilst the Nazis put down the uprising and destroyed much of the city. I think it's important in this debate to highlight the cruel fact that the majority of the Nazi death camps were built in Poland. Auschwitz, Treblinka, Sobibor and Majdanek were all in Poland, and these camps are believed to be where 3 million people were murdered. Over the course of the war, Poland lost 6 million of its citizens, half of whom were Jewish. We remembered them on International Holocaust Memorial Day this year in Speaker's House, where I was proud that a Chichester choir performed the Holocaust opera Push to members of both Houses of Parliament. There can be no doubt whatsoever that Poland played a huge part in the war effort, both in the UK and in resisting at home. And I want to thank my honourable friend for securing the debate and ensure him that in Chichester we will never forget the bravery of our Polish friends and allies.
Yeah. Well done.
Shannon.